From 2015 to 2018, there were many odd occurrences in the baseball world. For starters, the Kansas City Royals of all teams won the World Series despite a shoestring budget. A YouTube video was used as an aid for the Astros cheating scandal. However, despite all of these wacky events that happened during this span, one thing stayed constant: Khris Davis and the number 247. Don't know what that means? Well, let me tell you. Khris Davis is your typical high power, high strikeout, low batting average type of player that came up with the Milwaukee Brewers in 2013. But it wasn't until 2015 when our story kicks off. During this season, Davis had his fair share of ups and downs, with a torn meniscus in his right knee sidelining him from May 31st till July 6th. At this point in time, he had a respectable slash line, but lacked the power he showed in his first couple seasons, with just 5 during this stretch. But following his return from injury, he went on a tear, posting an OPS almost 100 points higher than his first half's numbers, and significantly lowered the amount of plate appearances between home runs. And entering the final day of the season, what was a meaningless contest for the already eliminated Brewers, he took his first at-bat off of Dan Herron to deep center field, but with more than enough room, Austin Jackson was able to retire him comfortably. Then in his next at-bat in the bottom of the 4th, he smacked a double to left field, which ended up being his only hit in the contest. But that was all he needed. With this one hit, he finished the season with a 247 batting average, thus starting what would become one of the craziest coincidences in baseball history. Following the 2015 season, the Brewers continued the fire sale of their team by offloading Khris Davis to the Oakland Athletics for 2 young prospects. A big shift moving from the NL Central to the AL West, but he was able to adapt and have a career year, improving in every power-related offensive category by a decent margin. But following his 1-for-4 performance on August 31st versus Houston Astros, he had an average of 256, a whole 9 points higher than the 247 figure, meaning he would have to slow down tremendously in the last month of the season, and that's exactly what happened. From September 2nd till the penultimate game of the season, he hit just 186, bringing his average down to 245 entering the team's final contest of the year against the Seattle Mariners, meaning he would have to end the night with 2 hits in 3 or 4 at-bats, because anything else and he would not finish with a 247 average. Facing off against Hisashi Iwakuma, he took him to deep center field in the top of the 3rd inning for a ground rule double. Then in the 5th, he struck out looking, and at the halfway point in the game, Davis was on his way to keep the streak going. And in the top of the 7th, he did it, taking Nick Vincent to center field for a home run, increasing the Athletics' lead by 3 and simultaneously raising his average to 247. Now with one final at-bat at the top of the 9th, this was it. He needed to walk, get hit by a pitch, get out, something that would not register in the hit column to finish the year with a 247 average. And on the second pitch of the at-bat against Edwin Diaz, he hit a soft ground ball to second base, and with Cano's nice backhanded play and accurate throw, retired Davis in his final at-bat of the season. The Athletics went on to win the game via a go-ahead double by Joey Wendell in the 10th, officially cementing Khris Davis' batting average of 247 for the 2nd season in a row. At this point, having the exact same batting average twice is nothing out of the ordinary. We've seen it before and we'll see it again. It wasn't until year 3 where the streak finally started to get a bit crazy. Entering September of 2017, Davis's average was sitting at a mere 232, 15 points off 247. But don't get me wrong, he was crushing it. Up until this point, he still had an above average slash line and was mashing baseballs, well on pace for 40 plus homers for his 2nd straight season. However, with only 24 games left, it was going to take a miracle to drive his average up so high. But that is exactly what happened. In the final month of the season, he went on to hit 7 homers, drive in 19 RBIs, and hit a staggering 330 with an over 1,000 OPS. A stretch that we had never seen before from him. I think it's safe to say this is the time when we truly experienced Crush Davis at maximum power. And by going on this crazy tear, he once again finished with a 247 average for the 3rd straight season. Heading into 2018, this stretch wasn't considered crazy, with most media outlets rather speaking about his immense power that he displayed the previous 2 seasons. But entering the final game of the season is when his stretch finally became mainstream, because entering it, he already had a 247 average, meaning he didn't have to do too much to maintain it. In his first at-bat with a runner on 3rd, he sent a sky-high fly ball to Mike Trout to end the inning. And because the Athletics already qualified for the playoffs, his next at-bat was going to be his last one to save him for October, meaning if he gets an out, the streak stays alive. Record a hit, and he'll finish the season batting 248. On the first pitch, Khris Davis is called for a swing to put him behind 0-1. Then on the next pitch, he fouled a chopper up the 3rd base line. Now with 2 strikes, he was in the hole with Matt Shoemaker looking to record his second strikeout of the game. But the slurve missed outside, and with the next pitch he swung through an 84-mile-per-hour slurve to strike out, ending the day 0 for 2 to cap off his 4th straight season with a 247 average. After this game, the MLB world went crazy, because Khris Davis seriously just hit 247 for 4 straight years, something no other MLB player has ever done before, and the first time anyone's had 3 straight seasons with an identical batting average since Mookie Wilson between 1983 to 1985. And as we have just uncovered, there were so many instances where one more hit or walk or at-bat in the final game of the season could have completely changed his numbers. But no matter what, he always found his way back to a 247 average. It's truly remarkable, and while I try to explain to you how unfathomable this stretch was, Bob Melvin said it best when he stated the baseball gods obviously want him to hit 247. Now unfortunately, in 2019, Davis did not continue his ways, with his average dropping by about 30 points, and just 2 years later he fizzled out of the league. But despite this, he will always be one of my favorite players to talk about, with one of the most interesting baseball stories in MLB history. Oh yeah, those guys the Athletics gave up to acquire the legend himself posted just .5 WAR in the major leagues. Sorry Brewers fans. That wraps it up for this video, but before you go, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, as I just started this channel, and by doing so will help me reach more like-minded baseball fans such as yourself. Alright, thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next one.